This is my Galactus Doom Destroyer deck. So we got one Nova, one M'Baku, one Goose, one Wolverine, one Cloak, one Storm, one Killmonger, one Wave, one Nimrod, one Galactus, one Dr. Doom, and one Destroyer. So check out some gameplay. So obviously the goal is to Galactus, our opponent for game. We ideally want Nimrod and Wolverine in play, so that way they will trigger their effects when they get destroyed in order to fill up the only zone that's left over from our opponents. As you can see, we got Nova. So we're trying to fill up one zone and try to make sure that we have more power than our opponents. So that's the ideal situation. We have M'Baku in the deck, so that way if we end up coming up short on power, ideally M'Baku, if he's still in the deck, will play himself and give you the extra 2 power you might need, depending on the situation. I wish they change his M'Baku's effect and make it where he could be played even from your hand, not just from the deck, but also plays at the end of the turn from your hand. That'd be nice. A lot of times I draw him and he becomes less useful. It's like you want him in the deck in order to trigger his effect, right? So it'd be nice if they upgrade him. So ideally you want to keep 2 zones open. We have Cloak, which ideally you want to play on turn 4 because you want to move everything to 1 zone so you can open up 2 zones. Ideally you want those 2 zones to have weak battle cards on battle cards on your opponent's side of the field, so that way you see we got Galactus and it's currently turn 5, so we can start moving things if we want, because Cloak is in effect. It's not necessary to do anything at this point. The best we could do is just weaken the center lane, because that's where we're going to our player Galactus. Of course, Nova will trigger because of Killmonger. Now, more likely I'm not going the Galactus route here. I'm more likely going to go Doom. So it's always a good idea to have more than one win con. Like Destroyer works with Wolverine and Nova and Nimrod, right? So that right there is a win con if you set it up right. Doom with Goose and Storm locking 2 zones, you can Doom into those 2 zones and win that way. We lose Doom, so we're not going the Doom route. So all we have left is go into Galactus, which is not ideal in this situation because we're not going to get what we want, and Nimrod's not in play, so we can't take advantage of that. So this is the final turn. So we go for Nimrod and hope that the left and right we win, just because we have more points than our opponent. So we're just gonna win just off of the Goose and Storm lock, ideally. He beats us in the middle lane, no surprise there. He does that. It's like, ooh, close. M'Baku comes out, and we actually lose this by 1 point. That's what it was. We lost this. Now, if M'Baku went to the far left, we would have won that. We lost by 1 point. So I'm looking at the effect of yes, one random location. Damn it, M'Baku, why not a location where I need you to win? Kind of like what's her name, Captain Marvel, where it goes to a location so it can help you win, right? But anyway, so yeah, you win some, you lose some. I would have won that if I didn't lose Doom, but I lost Doom. So things happen. That's the thing. Like there's only but so much you could control. Sometimes there's an uncontrolled element that comes into play. Like for example, your opponent playing what's his name, Black Bolt, and Black Bolt's the reason why I lost Doom, and Doom would have actually won me the game. If I would have won the far left and the far right, but I lost it, and I had to do the best I could with the current situation. I wasn't able to set up a nice a nice board for Galactus to win, so Galactus wasn't an option in that point, and even Destroyer wasn't. So Doom was my only hope. So that's the thing about having 3 6-drops in the deck, is that you have 3 potential ways of winning. Instead of trying to rely only on Galactus, you have 2 other ways of winning. And of course, you want to be able to hide. That's what they call it, right? Hide Galactus. You don't want it to be too obvious you're playing Galactus. So playing other strategies in the deck to throw your opponent off. Obviously, I win with absolute destruction of power. So that's a freebie right there. So I originally was using the goblins, but besides the fact that they take up a turn, because you have to play them and stuff, and they take valuable turns, that I could be playing something else instead, and they're predictable, because once your opponent sees you goblin a certain spot, they know that's the spot you're gonna go, and you don't want to limit yourself to a specific location to drop Galactus. You want 2 up to 3 locations you could drop Galactus, but in order to get the power boosters, right, to win a lane, you got to put your Nimrod, your Wolverine, into the far left lane, and then to the far right is where you want to put your Galactus. So of course that makes it predictable, but you can always mix and match. You can always go Galactus middle, and have ideally the Wolverines, because the way Galactus destroys, he destroys from left to right, so you kind of want your Nimrods and your Wolverines far left, so that way you can Galactus middle or Galactus on the right, and it kind of works out a little bit that good that way. You could Galactus far left, but that means you will have to put your Nimrods and your Wolverines in the middle, not far right, but in the middle, in order to get the effect. Because like I said, it destroys from left to right, so the closer you are towards your left. So you could put your Wolverines and your Nimrods far right or middle, and then if you're far left, far left, far middle. If you're far left, that means far right, you put your Wolverine, your Galactus. If you're in the middle, then you'll want to go to the far left for your Galactus. So right here, we're going far right with Nimrod. We're flooding this zone over here, and I'm really more setting up my opponent for Doom play. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do here. I forgot what play I did. I know I waved, but I don't know if I waved into Destroyer. Like doing a wave Destroyer and then Doom, so Destroyer Doom combo. So let's see. No, I think I do Galactus. Alright, my Galactus center. Yeah, so I'm going for Galactus. Yeah, this is final turn, so obviously I'm going to Galactus. So I'm taking advantage of the quantum realm weakening everything that you play. But since Nemrons don't play, they just transfer over. They won't lose their power. Yeah. And M'Baku for the extra 2 points. So there you see Nimrod and M'Baku coming together. Now let's say I was losing by let's say my opponent had 80 points and I had 7, which means I would be losing. M'Baku comes in, turning my 7 to 9, and I win by 1 point. So that's the end of the video.